Sports Minutes with Ziaul Raushan.
It is so busy, so I told him maybe I'm gonna divorce like Guardiola if it goes like this, because my wife never see me home.
Alexander Rankovic there, clearly in a good mood, sharing the sentiments of wives the world over, mine included, whose husbands' lives are consumed by football. And no surprise that the Lion City Sailors head coach was in a good mood as his team racked up a fourth consecutive league win. And with each passing week, the Sailors are strengthening their grip on that SPL crown. Welcome along to Sports Minutes with me, Ziaul Raushan, as ever on a Monday in the company of Deepanraj Ganesan. Deepan, you doing okay?
Yeah, very good. Local football back as usual, and we enjoyed a good round this time.
Yeah, we did enjoy a good round, but it was a weekend devoid of any major upsets, but delivered nonetheless in terms of goals and drama. Match day 25 started with that 5-goal thriller over in Brunei. Balestier Khalsa edging that one 3-2. On Saturday, the Young Lions were trounced 5-1 by BG Tampines Rovers. And then on Sunday, the Lion City Sailors picked up a 4-1 victory over Tanjong Pagar United, while Albirex Niigata left it late to secure a point against Geylang International. And we'll talk about Ryhan's antics post-match, shall we say, just looking for the right word there. Deepan, let's start with the 5-goal thriller over in Brunei. Big result this for Balestier, considering their recent form and the fact that they were playing away in Brunei.
Yeah, I had predicted for Balestier to win, but as the game had gone on, did look like it was going to be a wrong prediction because I thought both teams sort of matched each other, and it looked for long periods like it was going to end in a draw. But you could always see that Balestier had more in the tank. They were creating chances left, right and centre. But that's what you get with Balestier, right? A lot of chances. Is about the defending that, is the question here. And yeah, lo and behold, they got the winner in the end. I thought Kodai Tanaka in recent games after a very dry spell has looked bright. So that's always good news for them. They were missing a foreigner here. So I think very good 3 points for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And because you bring up Tanaka, and Sports Minutes likes to keep abreast of everything that's happened in the social media world, there's a soundbite going around where he has sort of declared interest in playing for Singapore. You're a man in the know. What's the year count? What are we looking at?
Yeah, I don't think there's much in this actually. I think, you look at when he arrived to Singapore, 2022, I believe he's arrived to Singapore. So there's still some leaks in that. I think it's easy to sort of declare interest in wanting to play for Singapore, but there's a lot of processes that need to take place. And I think over the years, it's been quite clear, right, that the Japanese people are quite proud of their passport or their links to the country, and it's not easy for all of them to want to give it up. I mean, even I have asked this question to Tomoyuki Doi before, and even he said that it's very 50-50. Of course, I want to play for Singapore. So they all want to play for Singapore. I think they sort of want to play on the international stage, but do they want to give up the Japanese passport? That's another question, and that's something that people need to be aware of.
And you do wonder the influence of Agent Kyoga amidst all of this, but that's a story to watch. Mark Weng, I hope that answers your question. Let's move it on to DPMM. A couple of weeks ago, Deepan, you mentioned they are candidates to be the worst team in the league. They've started the year as such because no points to show for any of their games. It's going to be a bit of a struggle for this team.
Yeah, and very disappointed because I actually thought that they would come into this almost second half of the season to really fight for maybe top 4 and just sort of like put a bit of fear into some of these SPL teams, but that's not happened. But just to be sort of positive, Hakimi Yazid came off the bench for this one, and I've told you before about how important he is for them. And he showed it, right? I mean, came off the bench and scored a goal. So that's something for them to look forward to. I think they'll be stronger for that. Their new striker has also got off the scoring. But it's very hard to see this DPMM winning games. And that's a big worry, especially when you have SPL teams who want to end the season on a high, and then you have DPMM not in so great form. So it's going to be tough for them, but they've started the Singapore Cup with a 1-1 draw against BG Tampines, so that might be the outlet for them to perform well in the Cup.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Hakimi Yazid, I can't decide if his goal was better or his celebration was better because that's some somersault. Sports Minutes understands there was problems with the broadcast, but that's a teething issue, especially delivering all the way from Brunei, so we'll keep abreast of that. Let's move it on to the second game of the weekend. That was BG Tampines Rovers trouncing Young Lions 5-1. First win of 2025 for Gavin Lee and co. Was it a case of BG Tampines being very good or Young Lions being supremely poor?
I would love to praise BG Tampines for how they played. And yes, I think they were clinical, something that you can't really say about them in recent weeks. But I think I've got to focus on how bad Young Lions were, especially in defending. You go and look at that. To me, I think the best way to describe this game is you go and watch the fifth goal, I believe, Amirul Adli's header. I mean, you are playing in a professional league, and Fatullah, I've waxed lyrical about him before. To give up that way for Amirul to get the header in is diabolical. And to me, I think I hope the coaches really go in hard on him on for that one, because it's just inexcusable the kind of defending the Young Lions had in the game. And to me, that particular goal sort of typified it. And to me, I think when you are Young Lions, when you're playing against professional players, you want to put on a good show, right? For you to sort of start every week. And I know that this is a pivotal year for the Young Lions, where they are going to be playing at the SEA Games. Yes, not every player in this lineup is eligible for the SEA Games. Of course, the Japanese players. Even actually, I think Fatullah might not be eligible, because I think you got to be born in 2002 or later to be able to be eligible for the SEA Games. But a lot of these players are fighting for a spot at the SEA Games, and I just don't see that. I didn't see that in this game. Ryan Sanizal was run ragged. Fairuz wasn't great. Fatullah wasn't great. So a lot of issues for them to fix. But these players have got to do better. They are playing for the country at the SEA Games, and SEA Games is really the time of the year where all eyes on you and all eyes on Singapore football. And then surely you got to represent yourself better, and this was not it.
The reason I have a smirk on my face is I've long contemplated making Sports Minutes merchandise. If I do, right, the quote, "You're playing in a professional league," will feature prominently alongside pound for pound, I believe. You talk about the SEA Games, let's touch on the SEA Games. We were at the FAS media briefing last week, and they did mention a new head coach coming in for the Young Lions. You're a man in the know. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I had heard that Tatsuma Yoshida had been in discussions, and he did in fact turn down the opportunity. Had posed this question to Ogura, who of course did not answer it directly. But there are other names in the frame, and I think one that I mentioned in my piece was Firdaus Kasim. I would love that. I think basically the criteria they're looking for is someone who sort of knows the local football context, hence why probably they reached out to Yoshida. And they also want someone who knows the pool of players, and who better than someone who has worked at the under-21 level at Hougang and then now Lion City Sailors. He knows the system, he knows the players available, and he's working with, I dare say, the best crop of youth players in Singapore. So, he might be the perfect fit. So, I just don't know where it is right now. I know they've had discussions with him. I'm not sure if he has accepted it, and I think it also depends a lot on what the Sailors say, right? Because he is an employee of Sailors after all. So I think this is something we've got to sort of look closely at, and I do think it will be sooner rather than later before we get some news.
Yeah, the runway to the SEA Games in December 2025 is not long, and as you listed out earlier, there's plenty of issues to iron out. So maybe a decision will be made soon. Listeners, get in touch and tell us who you think will be the outstanding candidate for the Young Lions head coach role. You talk about Firdaus Kasim being part of the Sailors. Let's move it on to the Sailors now. 4 wins in 4 league games now. 4-1 victors over Tanjong Pagar United. They're a team in good form, the Lion City Sailors.
Yeah, I think they're just churning out victories left, right and centre, and that's only good news for Sailors. And in some ways, Singapore football, because very big game coming up this week, of course. I think Sailors also, not something that's been talked about a lot, but I think they've added well, Raushan. I think you look at even the under-21 signings in terms of Diogo Costa and how he has done. You could see straight away that he is a player who looks very technically adept. He's quick. He's able to defend well. He's able to get forward well. So that's something that's impressed me, and kudos to their recruitment department, because not often you see Southeast Asian sides signing under-21 players from some of the best leagues in Europe, and that's what they've done here. So I would think that Sailors will only grow better from here. I think it's not all perfect, but they're getting better and better, and it's only good news for them in Singapore football.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They will represent Singapore on the continental stage on 13th February. They play Muang Thong at the Thunderdome Stadium, and then the away leg is on the 20th of February. So make a date for that in terms of programming notes. Let's move it on to Tanjong Pagar United. A bit of a revival before this game under Noor Alam Shah, but back to the Tanjong Pagar we're used to, almost the 4-1 loss, right? What do you make of it? Do they bounce back from this?
Yeah, I think it was inevitable. I think you can only sort of push a team so much, but quality is quality, and then it was just a lack of quality here against the Sailors. I don't think it's anything to worry about from Noor Alam Shah and Tanjong Pagar's perspective. It's just really a case of 11 better players that Sailors had. But I thought I saw enough in this game to suggest that they will be okay by the end of the season, in the sense where I think previous games when Sailors played Tanjong Pagar, it was almost a case of, oh my God, how are Tanjong Pagar in the league? I didn't quite feel the same way about this game. Yes, of course, Sailors were superior, but I thought the Jaguars showed a lot of fight. So that's the positive to take out from here.
And credit where it's due, what a free kick by Wada, right? Between Wada
free
and
kick.
Well done, as well as Latkovic. So we usually do team of the week, but there's outstanding candidates for goal of the week as well. We talk about all these things with Tanjong Pagar. I have to touch on the refereeing decisions. A lot of fans have got in touch saying they're a bit aggrieved by last week Reza Reski getting a yellow card for no foul. And then this week, Faisal Roslan a bit harshly adjudged to have fouled Bart Ramzan and picking up a second yellow. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so I thought this is a decision that... So in previous weeks, we've always talked about how it was bizarre. So this wasn't a bizarre decision. So let's just have it at that, because I think there's case for both. I think there's a case for it to be yellow and for it to be a sort of yellow for Bart as well. There's also a case for why Faisal should be sent off. So again, this is not something that really angers me or annoys me. But I think there's always a case of reputation that comes into bookings, and I think that's always the way when it comes to refereeing decisions. And I thought this was one of them, right, where you've got Tanjong Pagar against LCS, big foreigner against Faisal Roslan, and yeah, I think that's how the referee made a decision. Should it be that way? Of course not, but trust me, I think this happens a lot in leagues all over the world, where sometimes the reputation precedes the player and he gets sent off or stays on depending on that.
Yeah, you're certainly right. Speaking of some drama, there was a lot of drama in that Albirex Geylang International game, especially after a certain Ryhan Stewart scored towards the end to secure that valuable point for the White Swans. Before we discuss the action, let's check in with Mohammad Noor Ali speaking post-match to Deepanraj Ganesan.
To be honest, I don't think we deserve anything out of the game. Too many off players, we were not playing the way we want to play. I think, to be honest, if we won 1-0, we were lucky. Yeah, we were lucky because Albirex created enough chances.
Geylang is still third. Looks certain to end the season at least third. Would you say it's been a very good season?
I think there's still 9 games to play, so I don't want to take the risk saying that we finished third because we need everybody back if we want to compete and finish third. And this is the thing when the players must understand that when you play teams like Albirex who have nothing to lose and they just go out there and just play the way they want to play with no pressure, the motivation level is high. For us, we have to keep the thing going, and we are always playing under pressure, and that's something that the boys must understand. And they have to lift up from there. So I think. Like I say, we were lucky enough to get a 1 point. I think, of course, I'm disappointed. But at the end of the day, we got another big game, Biji Patum, coming up.
Unsurprisingly, Mohammad Noor Ali throwing caution to the wind about his team finishing third. Is he right to do so? Because Geylang were second best for most of that contest.
Yeah, Albirex dominated this from start to end. Tomiyuki Doi's goal came out of the blue. But yeah, I think Noor Ali is right to sort of be circumspect about his team finishing third, because yeah, there's still a lot of games left. A lot can change, and if Geylang are not able to have their best 11, and we've talked about this before many times, it's their best 11 that works. Anything other than that, it's a bit of a worry for them. So I think Vincent Bezekor is a big miss for them, because he's really the creative hub in that team. Not just that, I think the way he sort of able to link the attack and midfield together, how he's able to pick up the ball from deep and sort of drive at defenses and play the crucial ball is a big miss for them. And I say this because there was one particular phase of play during the game where Huzaifa Aziz had the ball and it was like a 3-on-2 situation. Vincent would have picked up the right pass, and Huzaifa, I think credit to him for returning. He's returned like a player that he once was, but he's not that sort of creative player that's going to pick up the final pass. So Geylang are missing them, but you look at the table right now and look at the number of points that Geylang have over the team in fourth place, whether it's Balestier or Albirex, because they're both very close. I think Geylang have third spot secured more or less. And if you look at it from a totem, it's the first time that they are finishing third in the top three. I can't remember the stats now, but it might have been 2003. That's a big achievement in over 2 decades. So sometimes people need to take a step back and see the work that Noah Ali is doing, and I think it's been a fantastic job.
Yeah, especially in an anniversary year, you feel like Geylang have put it together to commemorate that anniversary, right? They're 12 points clear in third spot ahead of Balestier and Albirex, as you rightfully pointed out. They have played a game more though, so we're going to see how that one pans out. Clearly, Albirex were deserving of a point based on what you just said. But there was plenty of discussion in terms of Ryhan's celebrations. First, he goaded, I believe is the word, the Geylang fans by celebrating like an eagle. Someone has got in touch and say he was mimicking a swan, so I don't know which is which. But at full time as well, there was a bit of argy-bargy, shall I say. Where do you stand on that? Is that what the league needs, or did Ryhan cross a line?
So to answer your question, yes, the league needs more of this drama, shall we say. And I'm okay for you to sort of celebrate the goal like that. I think that's fine. But I think sometimes respect comes into play, and that's where you sort of got to draw the line, right? I think your celebration is your celebration, and whether it's a swan, eagle, or whatever animal that you want to represent, that's fine. But what Ryhan did at the end, to me, was a step too far. So I did observe that he went pretty close to the Geylang bench, and he was punching the air a few times and saying yes, like. Yeah, why would you want to do that? I mean, you've got your sort of a late point. You can go over and celebrate with your teammates, with your coaches, and I think that's fine. I mean, why sort of unnecessarily sort of anger your opposition coaches? And you've got to also realize that you never know what happens in football, right? Noah Ali could become an important coach, and then would you want to be in that situation? You know. So I think just sometimes players have to exercise a bit more caution. I love Ryhan and what he brings to the pitch. I thought he was the man of the match in this one and deservedly got a goal. But sometimes I think respect goes a long way in this sport.
No, you make absolutely valid points. I feel like, yes, the league needs a bit of talking points, but there's a very fine line. I'm all for Ryhan scoring late on because he denied you the opportunity to go 4-4 for predictions. You did do 3-4 though. So let's try and look ahead to the Singapore Cup and put you under the spot. First up, Young Lions against Brunei DPMM.
Young Lions against Brunei DPMM is a very tough one. I'm going to go for a DPMM win.
Okay, I'm going to go for a Young Lions win because I don't want to just put you out there on your own. Next up, Albirex Niigata against Tampines Rovers.
Tampines Rovers.
All right, I'm going to go East Side, Best Side, Tampines Rovers as well. Lion City Sailors against Tanjong Pagar United, which is a repeat of this weekend's fixture, but this time in the Cup.
Yeah, Sailors.
Okay, Sailors for me as well. And then the biggest clash of the Singapore Cup weekend match, day 2, BG Patum against Geylang International.
Very tough to call this one because, again, we don't know what team BG Patum will put out. So on that basis, I'll say draw.
Okay, I'm going to go one better and say East Side, Best Side, Geylang International secure all 3 points. Deepanraj Ganesan, as ever, it's been brilliant canvassing your opinions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raushan.
Sports Minutes on Money FM 89.3.